A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. Listen for the word of God shining in these words of Scripture. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem along with him. And calling together all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "Bethlehem, in Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Oh, go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their country by another road. For the word of God in its promise and covenant, thanks be to God. May we pray with one another. Though it is daytime, O God, we know that nighttime will fall soon, after the sun makes its journey from the east. Darkness will cover the face of the earth, just as darkness covers the face of the deep. Yet, darkness is not dark to you. You fear it not, and you even encourage people to dare learning to walk in the dark, to be seekers of light, even the twinkling light of a distant star that signifies the light of the world. Grant us such courage now in the daytime, so that when night falls, we may, like the wise sages of old, also make a journey toward Epiphany. We ask this in the name of your beloved. Amen. Barbara Brown Taylor is one of my all-time favorite authors. She is a preacher's preacher. Her books are profound and yet accessible to Christians of any persuasion or no persuasion. Toward the end of 2019, I read her book, Learning to Walk in the Dark. Her text is a spiritual memoir and an encouragement for readers to also learn to walk in the dark. Though her text is not about an epiphany, and there's only a passing reference to the sages from the East, I could not help but hear her text alongside today's gospel reading. Throughout this week, I've wondered if the Magi had learned the spiritual discipline of walking in the dark. These visitors from the east are not part of Luke's telling of the Christmas story. Only Matthew lets us know about the men which we have made wise by tradition. But the Greek says that they are magi, which is short for magicians, diviners, stargazers. They did not work for the Persian Aeronautical and Space Administration, nor were they astronomers. They did not go to the office just off of Luke 480. They were astrologers. There is a difference, I'm told. The Magi do not appear at the manger, even though our favorite Christmas carols and every nativity scene known to humankind seems to suggest otherwise. According to Matthew, the Magi find Jesus at home in Bethlehem because they follow a star surrounded by darkness. This confirms my initial hypothesis. Magi are skilled at walking in the dark. They are seekers of light by a star in the night sky. Following our gospel story today, Matthew tells of Herod enacting a murderous scheme, slaughtering the innocents. According to this gospel account, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus flee the country and go to Egypt. They too embark on a journey of learning to walk in the dark, but they did not follow a star. Instead, the moon lit their journey. For Barbara Brown Taylor, learning to walk in the dark is the practice of lunar spirituality, in which the divine light waxes and wanes with the season. She writes, "When I go out on my porch at night, the moon never looks the same way twice. Some nights it is as round and bright as a headlight. Other nights it is thinner than the sickle hanging in my garage. Some nights it is high in the sky and other nights low over the mountains. Some nights, it's altogether gone, leaving a vast web of stars that are brighter in its absence." I'm sure Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus developed this lunar spirituality along their journey to a foreign country. The wise sages from the East, however, find the mystery of the night sky to be a ceaseless invitation to explore new depths of being and meaning. Before Herod's abhorrent plot takes place, Magi from the East depart the familiarity of Persia and go to Jerusalem in pursuit of something, or rather, someone. They are skilled and learned in matters most rational people regard as nonsense and unreliable, maybe even superstitious. When they look into the night sky and see the same constellations of stars that everyone else sees, these nocturnal diviners notice something cosmic that we diurnal creatures tend to miss. After traveling at night, they arrive in Jerusalem. During the light of day, they ask around town, "Where is he? Where is this child, born King of the Jews? The star has led us this far. We have seen it at its rising, and we have come to pay him homage." What they had discovered in the night sky, everyone in the daylight seemed to miss. Barbara Brown Taylor writes, "There are only about 100 references to darkness in the Bible, but the verdict is unanimous. Darkness is bad news at Black Rock. In the First Testament, light stands for life and darkness stands for death. When God is angry with people, they are plunged into the deep. the utter darkness. But after reading Taylor's book, I realized that she messes with the embedded idea that I so easily adopted, that darkness is bad and light is good. She reminded me that in the book of Genesis, darkness was first, light came second. Darkness was upon the face of the deep before God said anything. Then God said, light, and there was light. But the second word God said was not darkness, because the darkness was already there. How did it get there? What was it made of? She asked. I do not know. All I know is that the darkness is not created. It was already there. Could it be that darkness is the landscape for God's creative activity? Does God walk in the dark? If we were to keep with Genesis, we'd soon land at mothers Hagar and Sarah and father Abraham. One clear night, God took Abraham outside to look at the stars. Count the stars if you're able, old Abe, for so shall your descendants be. It was not something that he could have done in the middle of the day. Perhaps the same is true for the wise men. The star in the night sky revealed something new happening, something everyone else missed in the context of broad daylight. This confirms my second hypothesis, that God does not shy away from the dark, but rather works within darkness in ways that defy our imagination. Word about these mysterious visitors from another country travels fast in Jerusalem, and Herod hears about the foreign magicians in his city, the capital city, talking about a new king, a child, and something, well, a bit celestial. Herod, understandably, is frightened, and his cronies of the Jerusalem elite are scared to death too. The words in the Greek are far more telling. Herod and company are shook. They are stirred and scared. Herod does what anyone would do with such emotions. He turns on the lights, at least metaphorically. He eliminates the darkness. Herod assembles his cabinet in the temple situation room. He has the best of the chief priests emeriti, and the scribes, who are the legal experts on all things law and prophets, and all of whom are on the Roman payroll. Herod asks them, where exactly is this Messiah to be born? Herod's cabinet does not even leave the room to consult the ancient scrolls of the prophetic text. They respond immediately, though perhaps with some hesitation, saying, Herod, you see, one of the prophets, left unnamed because the prophet is so minor, suggests Bethlehem. But you know, Herod, the little town of Bethlehem, it lies still. Bethlehem is inconspicuous. If anything is to happen, the king of the Jews will have to get to Jerusalem first. So you're safe here, Herod. Don't worry. I sympathize with Herod on some level. Whenever I am shook, stirred, and scared, it's almost always at night, never in the daytime. My first response is to turn on the lights, literally. In fact, not too long after Chad and I moved into our home, I installed 1,000 lumen LED motion-activated security lights and automated our porch lights. I did this for our protection, our comfort, and security, to rid the fear of darkness, to diminish the required skill of learning to walk in the dark, which, if I'm honest, is probably to our peril. What am I missing by not being able to go outside and gaze at the landscape of stars because of my fear of the dark, the night. And what can I not fully see? Wouldn't it be better to go out and stare at the night sky without the hindrance of security beams and be lost in wonder at the vast expanse of it all? Herod, he burns the midnight oil by keeping the lights on 24/7. He concocts a covert commission and secretly sends for these stargazers. When exactly did the star appear? He asked the Magi. I tell you what, friends. May I call you friends? Herod disingenuously asked. Why don't you just go to Bethlehem and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word. Yeah, do that, so that I may also go and, pay him homage. Oh, and by the way, what are those 3 boxes? The wrapping, the boxes, the gift giving is on point, I must say. They respond, well, you know, Herod, it is impolite to show up empty-handed. These offerings are for the baby. Think of them as baby gifts. You wouldn't want them, much less need them. They are child's playthings, rattlers, pacifiers, a shroud, a baby blanket. The Magi, wise in navigating the stars, could also sense Herod's ulterior motive, because when one has learned to walk in the dark, one sees differently the things that are in the light. Having already left home, the mysterious travelers depart Jerusalem for Bethlehem. Practitioners of the spiritual discipline of walking in the dark, they travel at night and follow the star wherever it went. Follow they do, until, inexplicably, the star stops over the place where the child is. Their first century GPS worked. No more recalculating. They had arrived at long last. Joy overwhelms them. For those of you who were here at the 11:30 p.m. Christmas Eve service, the Greek is just as explicit as in Luke's story. The joy of the Magi is mega joy, mega car. The Magi arrive at the home of Mary and Joseph at night. Had they done so at my house, my security lights would have caught them before they stepped onto the property, which is to say nothing of the camera at the front door. I'm not sure I would have answered the knock at the door at dark 30 if it had been me. But Mary and Joseph do. Are you the parents of the child that has been born King of the Jews? They whisper, just in case the child is asleep. Yes, Mary responds. I just put him down for the night, but come on in. She goes and picks up the young infant, saying, we have unexpected company, little one. She brings the baby out to the visitors. They see the child with Mary. Their journey of walking in the dark has led to an epiphany. There, the Magi kneel down and pay homage, and they open and present their gifts. Mary asks, would you like to hold him? So one by one, they hold the babe born King of the Jews. One Magi sings to him a lullaby. Another gently burps him on the back. And then finally, one rocks him to sleep. The Magi depart the home of Mary and Joseph, I'm guessing, for the Holiday Inn Express in the city. There they have a dream in the night that shook, stirred, and scared them. But they do not turn on the lights. Instead, they decide to not go back to Herod. They could not return the same way they came, but go home by another way. They learn to walk in the dark again, but as if for the very first time. Barbara Brown Taylor writes, most people do not know what they mean by darkness, except they want to stay out of it. Just say the word and the associations begin to flow: night, nightmare, ghost, graveyard, black cat, cave, bat, vampire, death, devil, evil, criminal, danger, doubt, depression, loss, fear. Fear is the main thing. Almost everyone is afraid of being afraid. Darkness is shorthand for anything that scares me, that I want no part of, either because I am sure that I do not have the resources to survive it, or because I do not want to find out. Though Barbara Brown Taylor does not mention this thought in her book, our aversion toward darkness can fuel racism, a fear of people with melanin in their skin, while at the same time reinforcing the prevailing myth that white is light and therefore right. Taylor writes, I've learned things in the dark that I could never have learned in the night, or never have learned in the light. Things that have saved my life over and over again, so that there is really only one logical conclusion. I need darkness as much as I need the light. In about 8 hours or so, the sun will have completed its journey from the east. Darkness will come over northeast Ohio. Bundle up, it's going to be cold. Some leftover snow will be on the ground. Clouds are possible, even likely. But there will be stars hidden in the night sky. Follow one, the one that you can see, maybe just around the block. It's time for us to take a walk in the dark and seek the light that is held in the mysterious sky of night. To learn to walk in the dark, or even to stand still in the dark, is a spiritual discipline that we must cultivate. The invitation is this: know the dark. Go dark. Go without the safety of daylight and discover that the dark night too blooms, blossoms, and sings. Leaving what is safe, secure, and the shelter of a well-lit home for what we have seen in the night sky by a star or dreamt in a dream may frighten us to the point of being shook, stirred, and scared. That's all true. And yet, if we learn to walk in the dark, we will embark on a journey from east to west, or from our doorsteps to the ends of the earth, that very well may lead to an epiphany.